Is the era of the imperial presidency finally coming to an end, or are we witnessing a historic betrayal within the Republican Party? For the first time in decades, a seismic shift in the balance of power is happening on Capitol Hill that could strip the White House of its most lethal tool. This isn't just about partisan bickering, it is about a fundamental question of the Constitution: who actually has the right to send American troops into harm's way? Before we continue, if you want to stay on top of everything happening in US politics, hit that subscribe button right now and leave a like. It really helps this channel grow and ensures you never miss a breaking update on the stories that actually matter. We are currently witnessing a rare moment in modern Washington, a bipartisan breakthrough. Democratic lawmakers are now on the verge of passing a resolution specifically designed to end President Trump's ability to engage in unauthorized military conflict with Iran. This movement isn't just coming from the usual suspects on the left. In a stunning development, a steadily growing group of Republicans is crossing the aisle to join the effort. This past week, both the House and the Senate saw resolutions under the 1973 War Powers Act move forward with significant momentum. To understand why this is such a massive deal, we have to look at the context. This entire firestorm was ignited following the administration's decision to launch a drone strike that killed Iranian General Qasem Soleimani. While the administration argued the strike was a necessary preemptive move to stop an imminent threat, many in Congress, including some of the president's staunchest allies, felt they were kept in the dark. The subsequent intelligence briefings were described by some Republican senators as insulting and the worst briefing they'd ever seen. That frustration has now boiled over into a legislative rebellion. The 1973 War Powers Act was originally designed to prevent another Vietnam War, intended to ensure that the president cannot commit the United States to an armed conflict without the consent of Congress. For years, however, this law has been treated as a suggestion rather than a mandate. Presidents from both parties have found ways to bypass it. But now, the Democrats, led by figures like Tim Kaine in the Senate, have found the right lever to pull. By framing this as a constitutional issue rather than a purely political one, they've managed to peel away Republicans like Mike Lee and Rand Paul, who believe the authority to declare war belongs strictly to the people's representatives. So, what does this actually mean for the country? If these resolutions pass, they would require the president to consult with Congress before taking any further military action against Iran. It essentially puts a leash on the commander-in-chief. From a legal standpoint, it marks a historic reassertion of congressional oversight. For years, the executive branch has expanded its reach, using the 2001 and 2002 authorizations for use of military force to justify operations all over the globe. This breakthrough suggests that Congress is finally tired of being a rubber stamp for the White House's military ambitions. However, the outcomes are far from certain. Even if both chambers pass these resolutions, they face the looming shadow of a presidential veto. President Trump has made it clear he views this as a sign of weakness and an attempt by the radical left to hamper his ability to protect the nation. If he vetoes the measure, Congress would need a two-thirds majority to override a high bar that they might not be able to clear. But even if the veto holds, the political damage is done. The optics of the president's own party voting to limit his war powers sends a powerful message to the world and to the American electorate. It signals a fracture in the president's base of support regarding foreign intervention. Furthermore, this affects our standing on the global stage. Adversaries and allies alike are watching this domestic struggle. If the president's power is seen as contested at home, it changes the way he negotiates abroad. For the soldiers on the ground, the stakes couldn't be higher. This is about the rules of engagement and the legal framework that determines when and where they fight. We are seeing a clash between the America First doctrine of decisive, often unilateral action, and the traditional separation of powers doctrine that demands deliberation. The possible outcomes here are twofold. Either we are entering a new era where Congress takes back its constitutional duty, forcing a more collaborative approach to foreign policy, or we are headed for a constitutional crisis where the executive branch ignores the legislature entirely, leading to a showdown in the Supreme Court. The tension is palpable, and the stakes involve the lives of thousands of American service members and the stability of the Middle East. This is a turning point in American history. We have spent nearly 20 years in various states of conflict, and for the first time, the legislative branch is standing up and saying enough. Whether this is a permanent change or a temporary hurdle for the Trump administration remains to be seen. But the fact that Republicans are willing to break ranks during an election year tells you everything you need to know about the gravity of this situation. So what do you think about this? Who should have the final word on war, the president or Congress? Is this a necessary check on power to prevent a disastrous war with Iran, or is it a dangerous move that weakens our national security in the face of aggression? Drop your opinion in the comments below. I read every single one, and I want to hear your perspective on whether this bipartisan move is a breakthrough or a betrayal. The battle for the soul of American foreign policy is far from over, and the walls of the Oval Office might be getting a little closer as Congress reclaims its voice. This is a story that will define the coming months and potentially the next decade of U.S. global strategy. Stay tuned as we continue to track every development in this high-stakes political drama. I'm your host, and I'll see you in the next one.